It's Monday night, September 6th, Labor Day. Wanted to get out some ideas real quick for the small account challenge. I've been putting together a list of cheap options. So let's go through some. First, I want to say I'm leaning bearish on the market. As you see, though, we've been holding this 50 MA since the election. That's kind of been where we bounce every single time. I think we are getting a little extended, but we might get, if we go over here to futures, futures were open during the day today, and they went green. Now we're kind of coming back red. But really, we're just consolidating on this trend line here, and I would assume we're going to break up and put in some higher highs first, and then we'll pull back. So I've got a combination of calls and puts. I don't know much about this MACD stuff. If you know anything about that, you might take a look. RSI is pretty much neutral. So I don't know what we're going to do, but if I had to guess, we're going to put in all-time highs first before we break this this trend line. When we do break this, I definitely want to get into some puts, and our SPY target will be this purple line here around 444. So we might get a pop up to 458, 460. The reason I've got these lines right here, if you look at it on the extended, like the really far out view, really far out. Let me go to monthly. If you look at SPY on the monthly, we're coming up to a pretty major trend line. No, even bigger than that. Let's keep going. So as you can see here, we are touching the monthly trend line here, I believe. So I would expect a pullback for September. We could also just keep chopping up it, though. So I'm not ready to go all in on SPY puts for the rest of the next 5 years or anything, but it's coming. It's coming. We'll see what happens here. But anyway, I kind of had this line as like the top of the market. So if you keep that in mind, then see if I can get this a little closer. Yeah, somewhere around here is going to be the top of the market. So we'll probably get another bounce down to the 200-day moving average, which is also the weekly 50 moving average-ish, something like that. And we'll get a pullback to this area here, 390, 400. But for now, let's just say we'll just keep going higher until we don't. So when we break this trend line, I'll be looking to short the SPY and all that jazz. But for now, let's look at both calls and puts. First one up is AAA. I've got my option chain here on my brokerage, so we can see the prices. This one is bearish at the moment, but could flip pretty easily. So we've got this pattern, kind of a flat, kind of this wedge looking deal. We could quickly break this, and if we break over, this is the 50-day moving exponential 50-day moving average. If we break over that, then we could get a bear rip or a bull rip, just like we did here with a fake breakdown. I don't have a drawing tool on this. I like TradingView better, but anyway, so we're obviously putting in this lower equal lows and lower highs, and so if we break over, then we can get a really nice rip up to 26, but the expectation would be back down to 1820 area. So if we go over here, we'll say for this week, under, let me get closer here. I don't actually use these charts to trade. I use TradingView, and I use other excuse me, other stuff. But anyway, they're hard to mess with on here. But if we break our 1930 area, let's get a 19 puts for 0.26 or 1850 for 0.13. If we break over this trend, I don't even know how to use line tools on here. If we break over this trend line, pretty simple. We'll get in 20 calls. That's for September 10th. You could go out a couple weeks if you want. Still cheap, 38 bucks. I like AAL, long and short, but primarily short under 1930. Under 1930, let's get into 19 puts for next week. TLT is a cheap one. I believe, we don't know yet, but I believe we're going to bounce and go higher and break this. Bonds are where people put their money when they want safety, and I think we're putting in this wedge here, and the 50-day is our it's going to bounce here and then probably break and go higher. So we can go into 150 calls for next week is 27 bucks. 153 would be our target. Excuse me. Not COVID, I promise. But let's say probably let's confirm it. We'll fill this gap over 48.60. Let's get into 150 or 151 calls for the 10th, or if you want to do 151 calls for the 17th, we can do that. I'm also still holding 160 calls for October. If you want to do that, 160 for October 15th is coming up. Is it the 15th? I don't even remember how to do this. Oh, I don't know. I don't remember. But anyway, just remember that. 160 calls for October. SH is shorting the SPY. So our target would be this line when we break, like I said, that pattern, which this is an inverse fund, so it's not going to be exact. But basically, when we get over this junk here at 1459, we can get into 15 calls for September 17th. It'd be pretty cheap. These are 5 and 10 cent options here, so we'll have to do 10 and just hope that it works. We won't be able to get out at 9 cents or whatever. It has to be 5 or 10 on most brokerages, so we'll do that. iTub, this one's always a fan favorite. We're coming into support, and we're putting in higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. And I am assuming this area is support. We got Warren Buffett on our side now, So we're going to assume it's going to break back up and hit 7. So let's do October. 7 calls are $3 right now, or 6 calls for October. That means we got an entire month for $17. You could probably get it in for 14 or 15 there, and make this your stop down here at 537. So let's do that. I like October for iTub. Give it time because this thing just chops. But when it does pop, it goes pretty quick. So we'll keep an eye on iTub. This one I'll probably get in when we break over the 50 MA again. If I didn't say that already. If we take out this red bar and get to 577, I'll probably just go ahead and get in 6 calls for October. September, we still have some time. You can play around with 6 calls, but don't do anything higher than 6. I would do 550 or 6 calls for September if you want to play around with that. This one was like a, I don't know, 14 bagger or something like that last time it ran. We got in for like 4 cents and got out at like a, I don't remember, $1. DAL, I like DAL and AAL. All the airlines look about the same. It's also a cheap one. If we break this junk here at $39.79, let's get into 39 or 38 puts. Probably 39 because it's kind of a slow mover here. But the expectation would be to come at least back down to 37. So if you get into 38 and we come to 37.44, that's 54 cents per contract for 12. So that'd be at least a 4-to-1 return. PLTK I've been watching for a long time. It finally is starting to look bullish. If you look at the weekly, we've been in this downtrend. This is a new IPO, but we've been in a downtrend forever. It squeezed a little bit on the front, but then just sold right off. So I'm assuming this is the bottom. This here, it's kind of a 4-bar play. You got a pop, consolidation, and then this is just going to start drifting up back to 35. So we could get into 30 calls for I would do either 35 calls for October at 10 cents, or we can try for, let's see, our high here was 20, wasn't quite 28, but we could try 30 calls for 10 cents and hope we get a nice pop, get a pop to 31.50 area. That'd be $1.50 a piece. So that'd be a 10-to-1. That'd be a pretty good one. Let's keep an eye on that. This is a green candle. However, this is the 50-day moving average. So that might serve as resistance, but as soon as we get above it, it's just going to pop. That's all the short sellers' stop loss. If you can see here, it hit here and went down, hit here, went down, hit here. If it doesn't go down, if it goes higher, all the short sellers are going to get out and it's just going to rip. Target 35 with potential to just keep going to $50, $60. PLTK is a Chinese gaming company, I think. Chinese stocks are finally bottomed out and heading back up. So let's do PLTK 30 for September or 35 for October to give you more time. I probably like 35 for October. Stop loss will be 25.60 area. If we take out this green candle, we know it's going to go back down, so we'll get out. CCL, I'm still short in 20 calls or 20 puts. It still looks good on the weekly. Clearly we're bouncing here, putting in a head and shoulders, bouncing lower here. On the daily, looks really good. Looks like a bear flag. Looks beautiful, actually. Textbook. We've got our I don't know why it does that. I don't know which, I never know which one to use. Trend line? But the expectation is to break break this, bounce off the 50-day moving average, break and retest the low, which is also support around 18. So if we're in 20 puts and we get to 18, that's $2 a contract. That's pretty legit. For September, 20 puts are like at 15 cents right now. CCL, you could also do September 17th. Any of these are cheap, 22, 50 bucks, whatever. CCL I like. SU is an interesting one because I don't know to go short or long quite yet. But the potential to bounce is here because we're support, maybe support, but we might come back down here. So as of right now, I'm going to say bearish, and we'll put in another bottom at 17. 17 for September 17th. We'll have to get filled in at 10. You could do 17. You could do 18 for 20. That would fall under our thing. I mean, we're at 19 right now. Well, no, we're not. We're at 1876 right now. But 18 puts with potential to 17 or even lower to 16. But I also think we might be putting in a bear flag, which means we could bounce and retest up here to 20, which is also cheap. You could probably get filled for 10 there. So over Friday's high, let's get 20 calls. Under Friday's low, let's get into 18 puts on SU. I don't remember what SU does. Silver's looking interesting. We've got support here. Now this is becoming support, so the expectation would be another rip up to 26. So I like, now that we're getting over this moving average, over really you could do over 23. Let's get September 17th, 23.50. You could do that. And you could run to 24. So let's look for that. And if we bounce off of this, then we know we're going to come back down to 21. So we'll get September 21 is $4 right now. 21.50 is $7. 22 is $12. Let's get into silver. You could, depending on what we do, over 23, let's get in calls. Under 22.60, let's get in 21 puts. BAC is pretty cheap right now. It's also preparing to bounce or break. So we'll see what this does. Over 41.22, let's get into 43 calls for September 17th. 15 bucks. Under the moving average, 40.50. Let's get into puts down in this area, 38. So under 40.50, we could do 38.50, 39 puts, anywhere around there. Looks good to me. XLF, same thing. XLF actually looks more bearish than Bank of America, so we'll see what happens. But it looks like it's going to come back and retest this moving average. 37.50 puts are $14 right now. And what I would assume is we're retesting. We'll know pretty quickly what the banks are going to do because we've got this reversal pattern here. We were breaking down, we got stuck underneath it, broke out, bounced. We might come back down and retest it and bounce again. If we break below it, then we know it's going to go to 35. If we bounce off it, we know it's going to go to 39. Easy money. SQQQ is inverse of QQQ, just like SH is inverse of SPY. So we'll do 850 calls for September 17th. $8 right now. Actually, these are dirt cheap. 750. Let's do 750 calls, and only once we break 750. When we break 750, let's buy 750 calls. and for September 17th. And let's see if we can get a run up to $8.50, make it $1. That is all I have for the small account challenge, I believe. These other ones are on my other video, so we'll cover those here in just a few. But ORLY looks like it's ready to dump. Look at this. Broke, retest, failure. 520 puts for October 15th. Let's see what those are. I don't know, it's still going to be a couple dollars. Anyway, watch my other video for these other ideas. And Dragonfly starting to take off. DPRO now, it's not DFLYF anymore. We'll probably just get more consolidation here and drift back down. But when we get back to the $3 area, I'd like to buy back into my shares. I dumped it when we broke here, so we'll see. Anyway, if you guys have any questions about these, or if you find any more that are dirt cheap, send me a message. I'd like to look at them. Thank you and have a good evening.